What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Top Shelf Fandom. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. I'll be your host, Justin Thomas, and today we're going to be talking about Watchmen, and we're going to be trying to find the structure in all of the chaos. It's going to be very important and integral for us to understand what's happening in this first episode. The first thing you're supposed to do in any pilot is state your theme is the first beat, and so they state the theme right away with the racial tones, as well as the issue of glamorizing and worshiping nostalgia, as well as airbrushing the past. So we see this with Americana, we see this with Oklahoma, we see this with the talkie in which Will is watching right at the beginning. Episode essentially does what it needs to do. I would only fault it in I didn't get to I guess Regina a little bit you get to know, but I mean, for the most part, this is an introduction to the world. It was done in a very abstract way, but they follow the beats pretty point to point. And when you break it down the brass tacks here and look at the framework, you are introduced to this world. For the most part, what's happening. You only get the information, like the exposition that would usually come to you in a form of a first date, interview, somebody else's first day at a job at a place where the protagonist works. Just watch any pilot episode, you'll almost always see a first date or interview, dinner, anything that is going to make people state, characterize themselves, say who they project themselves to be, and that's characterization, and then true character comes out in action. So you get all that in like the background, like very like at a very low volume, like on like radios and stuff like that, talking about red for rations. We also get the student that mentions it, which Robert Redford was evidently the president for 3 terms, and African Americans, I guess, don't pay taxes, and that is fueling some of the hate, and that was the meaning behind all of the questioning about should all Americans pay taxes to the suspect that was detained unlawfully. If we're going to be technical, they are now treating white supremacists like immigrants. So it's obviously a flip on that whole scenario with the ICE situation. So it is touching on some very relevant issues of the day. I'm sure some people are going to take to that better than others. I don't think anything went past the line. I thought it was clever in the way in which they put the officers. The force is essentially half African American from the looks of it, and half Caucasian. They all wear masks. It brings up that problem with ambiguity, and that problem with not taking ownership of what you do. In also the issue of a fear-based culture, because they all wear masks, for various different small reasons, but mostly they're wearing masks because they're all fear is what makes everybody put on a mask, so it doesn't matter if it's the hero or not. So it's a very thought-provoking show, as I would expect it to be. I again have no knowledge of the comics. I would say I'm a little bit disappointed. I think there's far more because I know what the connections are, because I've heard, and I kept myself clean for this, just to really see how high concept this would really be, and I think it is, because it looks beautiful and it does do its job. Like I said, we come back now wondering why Will would have killed Judd, right? Because what was Judd doing? He was sitting in Oklahoma, which fun fact, he played Curly. Curly in Oklahoma is a protagonist and the hero, as they say, and he kills Judd, and pretty much just avoids a shotgun wedding by giving a $50 gift to the father. It's a pretty messed up premise, as all old shows are. It's getting kind of dissected now and go through any Disney movie and you'll find out how fucked up that is. So I'm not against it, but I'm also not like outraged about it. But it's a nice parallel, like with the first hockey and then Oklahoma, and we see that it's not a separation or segregation or class warfare in the sense of the arts or power within institutions. It almost seems like the white supremacists are the ones that are being like they're the mind, which is good, in my opinion, the minority, but it's a flip on it. There's a little bit of gun rights in there, and also a message about government, big government. What any Republican will tell you, that that you don't want the government involved in your business and all that, and you get that with the police officer not being able to. There's so many precautions and so many guidelines now that they've put themselves into a dangerous situation. So we see the officer who does end up surviving, but he is shot by a white supremacist, and he can't detach his gun, and we go through this process that's on screen right now of them getting the guns, but also when you disallow people to do certain things or talk about certain things, it makes them do them in the shadows, as we see right now, and that's just that's more dangerous than anything. You put them into secret meetings where they put capes over their head and wear bed sheets, or go to communist parties in the middle of the night and burn down some houses like some anarchists. You force people out of the shadows. You don't force them into them. So making things illegal or taboo can sometimes just be a double-edged sword. And these are got some good examples of I guess flipping the power dynamic is more effective than just flipping the racial lines and so forth. You can do more with that. That's a smarter approach for this. And it's an interesting show. As far as old Ozzy Man is, I would say that his screenplay probably sucks, and his choice to do a 5-act is pretentious. And also, I would say that that's pretty much Lost. I see just Lost happening in that timeline. I know all you guys that are like really into the graphic novels and in the movie, I know there's a lot of stuff that goes along with the name of the play, and I know that he's not even supposed to be alive, and I would just say right away, just knowing who's behind this, and it's not a bad thing. I like the exploration of ideas more than the cementing down of absolutes to get some conclusion to some philosophical question. These are usually deeper issues at play within the shows that these creators have made in the past. It just becomes a crapshoot, and you have to really make sure that your threads are straight. But at this point, we know that we're gonna have Regina seeking out what's going on, or what happened with Judd, with Will, and see what his deal is. So finding out what happened to Judd and why it happened will tell us what Will's all about, and what that being orphaned from one tragedy just to be set out to another dark road. I guess the final message would be, if you're looking, for reasons to be outraged, don't go here. If you're looking for very concise and standard character arcs and story threads, don't come here. If you're looking for everything to mean something in the sense of it's gonna give you an answer to some deep philosophical question, I mean, you're in the wrong boat altogether in life. But don't come here. It's very stylized, it's very well shot, it's beautiful. I think it's intriguing. I think it's a little bit risky that they put this pilot out in the way they did, but they did technically give us a reason to come back at the very least. But we know very little about these people. I just think it's the nature of this. It's the nature of the beast, and I heard he did the same thing for The Leftovers, that he didn't even want critics to do any reviews until they saw all 6, if they were going to be before the embargo. So it is what it is. I love Trent Reznor's score in this, and I think that really we achieve one of the most badass, low-key introductions to I guess a superhero. If you guys have not subscribed, please make sure to do so. I have a stream that'll be out actually tonight with Amanda from the Disputed Lands, talking about the Iron Islands.
Plain Jane, Jackie Chain, Richard Mille. You gon' be the one, bust it down, I can see it. Diamonds in the face, crushed up, I can see it. Diamonds in the face, crushed up, I can see it.
You think I can lift 200 pounds?
Sure you could.
Poor Judd is dead. Poor Judd Fry is dead. All gather round his coffin now and